SubhanAllah. It's really sad. Just today I was speaking to someone. A deceived individual. A conned poor old man. Who saw me, he said, "How are you? You're a Muslim?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Did you observe the fast today? Were you fasting?" I said, "No, but let me ask you a question. Why were you fasting?" He said, "Well, it's recommended to fast on the day of Ashura." I said, "Oh, is it? Who told you so?" He said, "The Prophet observed the fast on the day of Ashura." I said, "Oh, did he? Would you please narrate the tradition that says the Prophet observed the fast on the day of Ashura?" He said, "Well, I don't know much." I said, "Well, I'll cut to the chase. I'll tell you the narration." It says that the Prophet came back to the city of Medina after a war. When he entered the city, he noticed that the Jewish community in the city was fasting. He said, "Oh, you guys are fasting?" They said, "Yeah." The Prophet said, "Why are you fasting?" They said, "Because this is a blessed day. It's the day when Moses was able to split the sea and save the Israelites. It's the day when the Pharaoh drowned and was killed. It's the day when the ark of Noah rested on the ground. It's the day when God forgave Adam of his sin. It's the day that this happened. It's the day that every single festivity that you can think of was attributed to the day of Ashura. Therefore, we fast." The Prophet said, "Oh, well, that's a good idea. In that case, since I'm closer to Musa than you are, both of us being prophets and all, then I will fast today and I will ask all the Muslims to observe the fast." I said, "I ask you in God's name, if you had the number of a great scholar stored on your mobile phone, and suddenly you had a little bit of a problem with your prayers. You had a question. You didn't know whether your prayers were accepted or not, whether you need to repeat your prayers or not, right? Would you suddenly pull the car over, get out of the car, and ask any average John Doe, any person just walking past, would you stop him and ask him for the ruling regarding your prayers? Or would you call the scholar whose number you have stored in your phone? He said, "Obviously I'd call the scholar." I said, "Rasulullah, the messenger of God, does not ask Allah as to what he needs to do. Suddenly he needs the advice of Jews or Christians? The Prophet needs to be told by the Jews as to what he needs to do?" He said, "No, he's not." I said, "How could he imitate the Jews if he's the messenger of God?" He said, "No, he's not imitating them. He's just saying it's a good idea." I said, "You're wearing jeans. If I came up to you and said to you, 'Wow, you're wearing jeans. Those are very nice. And I'm going to start wearing jeans.' I tell you, I'm going to start wearing jeans from tomorrow. And I'm going to ask all my friends to wear jeans. Am I imitating you or not?" He said, "Yes." I said, "That's what the Prophet is doing according to you." And the saddest, the most tragic thing of all, my brothers and sisters, and I'm sorry that I have to say this, is that after 14 centuries of the tragedy of the day of Ashura, we are yet to receive not an apology, but a statement condemning the death of Imam Hussein. For someone to tell us that, listen, Imam Hussein was killed, and we condemn that. Didn't they condemn the Danish cartoons? Didn't they condemn the insults that were made against the Prophet? By going berserk in the streets, burning cars, destroying public property. Didn't that happen? Why? Because the Prophet was insulted? Which is a bigger insult? For the Prophet's own flesh and blood to be murdered in a desolate land while being thirsty, the way a camel is slaughtered. Which is more insulting to the Prophet, do you think? A bunch of pathetic cartoons, or for his grandson to be killed? Why don't you condemn that? Or you know what? We don't want your condemnation. At least don't celebrate this day as a day of celebration and festivity. Is that too much to ask? Is it too much to ask?